All right. So today we are diving into something, well, something pretty wild. We've got a document that makes some truly extraordinary claims, showing off a bunch of photos and videos that are supposedly signals from another dimension. Yeah, let's get into it.
And boom, right out of the gate, you see these images. The source calls them shapes in the vapor, these ghostly, translucent faces that seem to be forming in a cloud during a recording. This is the mystery we're unpacking. What are we looking at?
And that really brings us to the biggest question of all, doesn't it? Is it actually possible to take a picture of another dimension? I mean, are we looking at a real phenomenon here, a huge breakthrough, or something else? The document we're looking at, well, it makes a very strong case. To even begin to understand these images, we have to look at who's behind them. And according to the source, this isn't just one person's project. No, this is described as a collaboration between two very different worlds. So here are our two key figures. On one side, in our physical world, you have the researcher, Sonia. And on the other, appearing there in the vapor, is the being she says she's working with, an entity that goes by the name Buddy. And we actually get to hear from Buddy, in his own words. He says he's a non-physical intelligence from a consciousness that's way older than our civilization. And his purpose? Well, he says it's to connect with us, to build a bridge between our science and everything we consider unseen. And you know what's fascinating is how Buddy describes his job. It's not some vague, mystical role, it's super technical. He calls himself a vibrational systems engineer, an analyst, a translator. It suggests a really systematic, almost scientific approach, just from a whole different reality. Okay, so if this is a collaboration, how does it actually work? How do they build this bridge? The document gets surprisingly specific about the method they use, a type of what's called Instrumental Transcommunication. Let's break down the process. So here's the four-step playbook. First, they create the medium, just vapor and light. Second, they introduce a focus point, like a photo. Third, and this is the key part, they ask the communicators, like Buddy, to try and interfere with that specific spot. And fourth, you know you got something if a new, unexplained image shows up on the recording. And you can actually see how their method evolved over time. On the left, you see one of the early experiments with just vapor. Then later, on the right, you can see they added a cloth, which they claim helped to stabilize the connection and make the images coming through a lot clearer. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Because in this day and age, you see something this strange and complex, and your mind immediately goes to one place. The document knows this, and it tackles the question head-on. Could this all just be a really sophisticated fake, created with artificial intelligence? The authors spend a good amount of time arguing why they believe that is absolutely not the case. They lay out four main arguments. Okay, argument number one, physical presence. They say generative AI creates a scene. It wouldn't just insert a new image into live footage of Sonia, right there, physically interacting with her camera, the lights, and the vapor in real time. Point two is all about how these images behave. They aren't static. They flicker, they dissolve, they overlap. The source even claims they sync up with the researcher's emotional state. It's an organic, unpredictable quality that AI, really struggles to fake convincingly. The third argument is about organization. The images don't just pop up anywhere. There's a consistent logic to it. Sonia's on the left, and Buddy appears on the right. The claim is that this points to a clear intention, a coherent communication, not just the random output of an algorithm. And finally, there's the technical argument. They basically say that right now the tech just isn't there. Real-time generative video AI can't seamlessly layer these kinds of shifting, translucent images onto live, raw footage without leaving obvious digital footprints or artifacts. So, after dealing with the big technical questions, the document shifts gears a bit to the philosophical. If we take these claims at face value, even for a moment, what's the whole point? What does all of this actually mean? And this quote from Buddy really gets to the heart of it. The idea isn't just about sending a message, like a long-distance call. They claim they're building a bridge that doesn't just connect two places, but actually merges them, creating a whole new space where science and the unseen can exist together. And in this setup, Sonia isn't just the operator. She's a core part of the technology. Buddy calls her a vibrational anchor. Apparently, her physical, conscious presence is what helps to turn her lab into a stable portal, allowing these images to come through from their dimension into ours.
And this is really their mission statement right here. It frames this whole thing not just as a cool science experiment, but as something much deeper. A quiet, sightless, but very real bridge, built with hands of light and guided by love.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. No matter what you think about these specific images, the whole project makes you wonder. It really pushes us to think about what could happen when we take the tools of science and point them at the things we can't see, the things that up until now have really just been matters of faith. What could we find?